Senator Ted Cruz explains why these big tech giants must be held accountable.
Explain what the hell he's doing, why they are interfering with the election, why they are trying to censor the press. And we are going to get Twitter and I believe Facebook both, Jack Dorsey and Mark Zuckerberg, to testify in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee. And we need answers before the election because this is dangerous. It is a real threat to free speech. It's a real threat to our democratic process.
Here to react is the host of the Dave Rubin Show. It's Dave Rubin. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Dave, I think you have such a unique perspective on this topic because you've built a business on the internet. The internet has allowed voices who wouldn't have been heard to be heard, but at the same time, we see big tech companies picking which voices will be heard, what to suppress, what to elevate. What should we think? What should we feel about big tech and the internet and its approach to different voices right now?
Yeah, well, you know, it's a catch-22 for all of us, but particularly those of us that sort of exist as internet creatures. I've built a thriving and successful business using YouTube, using Twitter, using Facebook. So I want these companies to be successful. I want them to be transparent. If someone subscribes to me or follows me or likes me, whatever it is, I want them to be able to get my content. And that's sort of the unsaid exchange that we have with these tech companies. But Ted Cruz is right. We don't know what's going on. We don't know what the algorithm is delivering us. We don't know if we're being shadow banned, meaning you follow somebody on Twitter, but you just don't see their tweets because they don't line up with whatever is politically correct in the day. And, you know, this New York Post story, the idea that Twitter was suppressing that story, regardless of how true the story is, I mean, we know that there's plenty of things that are spread online that aren't quite true. For example, the Very Fine People hoax that Joe Biden and the Democrats push constantly, where we know if you just watch the full video after Charlottesville, Trump condemned the white supremacists and the KKK and the rest of it. So if we're going to censor things, I think people just want to see it as fair. But I also think that the bigger issue here is that I don't think people trust Zuckerberg. They don't trust Jack at Twitter anymore. So even if they are telling the truth, which generally speaking, I don't think they are, and I don't envy their positions either, I think they've lost the trust of the users. And once you lose that trust, I don't know how you get it back.
So, you know, so far the president's been blocked evidently 65 times. Joe Biden's been blocked none. Don Jr. says, I've been shadow banned. I can tell the retweets are a fraction what they were even 4 or 5 years ago. And then we know about this New York Post story, but we don't see any problem with the Atlantic story, where a third-person account of something the president denied saying becomes an international event that happened 2 years ago, but is timed perfectly for September. So that's fact. That stays. But a New York Post story with actual emails and addresses and now a receipt with Hunter Biden's signature on it, that can't go forward. It's not hard to see the difference here, Dave.
Well, of course, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but nobody from the Biden campaign has actually disputed the story. So the idea that a story has to be sourced in a specific way for it to be okay to be on Twitter is crazy. I mean, let's not forget there were 2.5 years of a Russian collusion hoax that everybody on Twitter was tweeting about all the time that turned out to be totally false. I mean, if we were banning or suppressing views on Twitter related to whether every single comment was true or not, I mean, basically everybody would be banned from Twitter. So it's that sort of asymmetry that people are fed up with. I think Ted Cruz is right here. The question is, you know, we've got 2 weeks to an election, and has the ship left already? Is there anything that the government can possibly do in 2 weeks to clean up the mess?
No.
I don't know, because I think the way we've been manipulated at this point, we're really, the rubber's meeting the road here, and it might be too late.
Dave, I know you attended a Trump rally in Beverly Hills. We want to know what that was like. We see the polls, and it looks like Biden is ahead, just like said Hillary Clinton was in 2016. But then you see these rallies, the boat shows, the caravans. What was the turnout like?
I'll tell you guys, it was something else. I happened to go to one last Saturday by total accident. I was just driving by and I saw this huge Trump rally and I jumped out of my car. I just wanted to see what it was like, and it was an absolute love fest. So then I went back this past Saturday intentionally. There were thousands of people, and let's just be very, very clear about this. It was the complete reverse of everything the mainstream media tells you. There were black people and white people and Asian people and Latino people and gay people and straight people. people, and everybody was having fun. There were tons of American flags. But more than anything else, not only just the energy and the support and the happiness and the joy and smiles, but the cars driving by. I mean, this is Beverly Hills. This is the heart of lefty Hollywood. You know, Santa Monica and Rodeo Drive, all those fancy stores, you know, Pretty Woman, all of that. And the cars driving by that just happen to be driving by that are not necessarily Trump supporters, the thumbs up, the honks. I mean, I think something is happening, and it's just not reflected in the polls. I think people have had it. People have just had it with the idea that the streets are going to be overrun with violence, that they can't say what they think, and really that they reject the far left. And Trump, in a bizarre sense, is the only thing standing up against it.
All right, Dave Rubin, thanks so much for getting up early with us this morning, Dave.
Really early.
You got it.
California.
If you're looking for more honest and thoughtful conversations about politics instead of nonstop yelling, check out our politics playlist. And if you want to watch full interviews on a variety of topics, watch our full episode playlist all right over here. And to get notified of all future videos, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell.